Hi there, welcome to today's webinar. My name's Kate and I'm one of the research managers here at Listen and Learn Research. So we make sense of social media by creating audience, cultural and influencer insights that help you create engagement and demand. So today I'm sharing our TikTok research on the cost of living crisis, looking at consumer responses to this. So we've all seen the headlines. Households in the UK are struggling. Inflation is above 10% for the first time since the early 1980s. Real-term wages are falling. Taxes are increasing. The cost of basic items, so food, energy, fuel, mortgages or rental costs, have gone up dramatically. What's the result? Many are being pushed into poverty. So recent IMF forecasts have slashed the UK's growth forecast, with Britain being the only G7 economy that is expected to shrink over the coming year. So many reports out there are focused on these alarming numbers and reporting the matter in a very factual way. But how can we understand the people's perspective during this time? So here's where TikTok, the world's most popular entertainment app, comes in. So we've been following the online conversation through the TikTok hashtag cost of living crisis. It's one of the latest trends to grip TikTok. So these cost of living posts highlight, in human terms, the financial as well as emotional crisis that many consumers are going through, and also how they're responding. So brands need to get to the bottom of these emotions and coping strategies to reach and engage audiences. So to provide brands with this insight, we've analysed more than 500 TikTok videos on the cost of living crisis using our first of its kind qualitative TikTok methodology. By exploring how consumers talk about their struggle, what emotions they're experiencing, and what coping mechanisms they're using to overcome them, we can show brands how to better understand their situation, speak their language, and suggest the most appropriate ways of speaking to them. So today I'm going to be talking you through, first of all, strategies. So how are TikTok creators using the platform to minimise, process and overcome their financial and emotional struggles? And secondly, opportunities. What can marketers do to better reach and engage with audiences during the cost of living crisis? So what are the main coping strategies that we've seen? Well, we know that people are going through an emotional, not just a financial crisis. Many are struggling to cope with that anxiety and stress just as much as they are with paying their bills on time. So users adopt coping strategies and in turn harness the power of TikTok in a number of ways. So what we saw was that 3 strategies in particular dominate. First of all, using humour as a coping mechanism. Secondly, seeking practical and emotional support from the TikTok community. And thirdly, using the platform to lobby for political change. And what we saw was that a user's strategy of choice seems to, above all, depend on their generational background. So to follow, I'm going to talk you through a breakdown of the 3 dominant generational cohorts and their preferred TikTok strategy. So what about our younger users? Well, they were most likely to respond to the crisis with humorous TikToks. They use humour to explain just how absurd they find the situation and their corresponding feelings of helplessness. They're more likely to use the platform to bond over a shared experience rather than as a practical help for cost cutting. We then have our parents and family-based TikTok accounts. They were most inclined to focus on budgeting their way out of the crisis. They're also the most likely group to turn to TikTok for emotional and practical support from fellow users, seeing the platform as a source of help and solidarity. And then our older users, they tended to be the most political, viewing their struggle within a broader societal scope. So they were more inclined to use TikTok as a political tool to lobby the government, usually to argue for state intervention. They were the most vocal about attributing blame. They often pinned the crisis squarely and directly on the British government or on immigrants. So let's examine the 3 TikTok strategies in more detail. So first of all, humour as a coping mechanism. So this one really was all about making them laugh. Humour is both a source of entertainment and a means of coping with difficult and stressful situations. Humour plays an instrumental role in forming social bonds and releasing tension through escapism. So we see a large part of users go out of their way to create entertaining content about their personal, financial and emotional struggles, or the poor state of the wider economy. This is taken to such a degree that common joke templates emerge, recycled by countless users. One common example is the boat filter. It's often paired with dramatic music and presents the person sailing away from the problems of the cost of living crisis. I'm going to play you one example now. In another joke template, the central heating auction joke, we see videos feature an auction chant and bid calling audio at the same time. This formula reoccurs in many TikToks and emphasises the helplessness and lack of control users feel as prices are escalating. Let me play this one for you.
65, 75, not a debit against 75, 85, not a debit, 85, 95, not a debit, 95, 100, not a 10. If 110, not a debit, 10 to down, 20, not a debit, 134.
So that's really showing, in a humorous way, how fast these energy prices are rising and how out of control these younger users are feeling. So there may be something very British about finding the funny side in the face of adversity, but it also seems to be distinctly generational. Millennials and Gen Zs overwhelmingly resort to this coping mechanism on TikTok.
60.
But why is it? Why are these younger users acting in this way or responding in this way? So the nature of the jokes themselves indicate that firstly, younger users are more used to experiencing poor living conditions and struggling financially. Many joke that low wages, student debt or little savings have long acclimatised them to many of the measures that older users are complaining about. So in this video, we see a millennial TikToker jokingly take pride in going without heating for a long time. I'll just play this video for you now.
Something these hoes are like. Try whips, I know they like. Twister, you told her right. Make you a celebrity overnight. Give you ice like Kobe, right? We sorta like Goldie, right? No way we mold them, right? I can make you a celebrity overnight. Play some.
So you can see that their response to a degree is, okay, I'm used to this. I've already been on hard times before. What about the younger users that haven't previously had to resort to aggressive budgeting measures? Well, actually for them, many seem more at ease to adopt them than their older peers. So numerous young TikTokers, for instance, say they've become vegetarian or vegan to save money. With a lower quality of life to begin with, it seems younger users are more open-minded to make lifestyle changes to save money. But most younger users don't offer their peers practical advice, choosing instead to focus on finding the absurd in the current situation. Some have even nicknamed it Cosy Lives. So like predecessors Rona for coronavirus and Pani D for the pandemic, the term seems once again to be a Gen Z way of finding humour in a tough situation. This is a generation that's grown up with multiple global and financial crises, widening generational inequality and low quality of life. They may not expect much else, unlike the older TikTok users. So let's move on now to our second coping strategy, and that's seeking practical and emotional support from the TikTok community. So this second strategy is all about support seeking, whether it's emotional or practical. Mothers and family-based TikTok accounts are overrepresented. They turn to others for advice, hacks and encouragement, and in turn give that back. They turn to TikTok to meet like-minded people in similar situations who can help them cope with the crisis through both practical tips and camaraderie. So on the one hand, this group are the chief producers and consumers of the advice video. Never mind joking or turning to political activism, they're inclined to budget their way out of the crisis. Advice on bargain hunting at charity shops is common. There's also a strong focus on cutting food costs. Videos often feature meal ideas on a budget, exchanging cheap recipe tips, as well as videos of their weekly food shop. So in this video, for instance, we see how a mother shows viewers how she can make a beef stew on a budget for just £1.55 per person.
Yeah, they're invincible, and she just in the background. And she says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. Yeah, they're
Then there are videos focusing on emotional support in tough times. So many take to TikTok to hear and tell others that they don't have to suffer on their own, and there are the people out there that will listen, help and contribute. This comes in the form of multiple expressions of sympathy and the importance of solidarity. Some express solidarity and empathy in less emotional ways. So we see some users, for instance, advertise their friends and family shops and services in an effort to help them stay afloat. Buying locally is also applauded as an effective way of helping the community. So let's take a look at this TikTok video.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
Others use their TikTok voice to emphasize the importance of being kind and helpful to others, such as helping out with chores and day-to-day activities to take the burden off struggling families and individuals. They rally against materialism, saying we should embrace less spending, gifts and comforts. They think the cost of living crisis is an opportunity to get out of a rat race of glorified consumerism and focus on our loved ones. There's also a smaller subset of users who are donors, so they advocate for stepping in and helping those struggling with their bills. Most describe giving to their friends and family, however other donors give freely to strangers on the platform, harnessing TikTok to raise money for the poor, as can be seen in this video.
Hey guys, it's TJ.
Hey, it's Savannah. If you remember last time we gave £100 to 10 people and it had such an amazing impact.
So this time we want to go a bit bigger.
Yay! So Christmas time is coming up and we would like to help as many families as possible.
So we want people to be able to have an amazing Christmas and buy their kids lots and lots of presents and have as much food as possible, right?
This time we're going to give away £2,000 to 5 people and they'll each get £400 and so they can have an amazing Christmas.
So you don't need to tell us why you need it or whatever you're going through. Just comment below and Savannah will pick the lucky 5 winners. And yeah, good luck.
Good luck! I hope this helps you and your family to buy your kids more presents and have more food for Christmas. I wish we could give away more than £400 per family, but unfortunately we're not made of money.
Hey guys, it's TJ.
So let's move on now to our final coping strategy, those who are using TikTok to lobby for political change. So this third coping strategy is at the opposite end of jokey inaction, and instead it's about raw, angry political activism. This group is not willing to accept and submit to the status quo by finding glimmers of comedy. Instead, they weaponise TikTok, intent on spreading a message of social injustice and of building a movement for political change. Interestingly, this group tends to skew towards an older demographic. Boomer users are most inclined to argue for state intervention and demand political change. While they complain about their lot, this group clearly feels most empowered. Older users feel like they have a right to be heard. So why are we seeing more senior activists? Well, the reason for this likely reflects the power they hold at the ballot box. The votes of seniors loom ever larger, dominating the spending promises of all the main political parties. And where those policies threaten the seniors' finances, political parties suffer. This is the political leverage that older users on TikTok use to their advantage. Another reason that older users in particular may be turning to the government to ease their financial pain may be because they paradoxically have higher levels of trust in the government as an institution than Gen Zs or millennials. The government can, they believe, and should, address their problems, unlike younger users who have little such expectations. Activist TikTokers feature news segments more in their posts than other groups, perhaps reflecting that this largely older age group consumes more traditional media than their younger peers. Many record themselves reacting negatively to news headlines, then go on to rant about price rises or policy changes. One type of imagery reappears time and time again, the view that Britain is broken. To TikTok activists, the cost of living crisis has highlighted social injustice, a broken social contract, and a country in collapse. Complaints about the state of the country are common. Other phrases such as "in this day and age" and in this year are used to express a sense that Britain is behind. These terms are mentioned in tandem with references to strike action, collapsing public services, and the housing crisis. Let's take a look at this TikTok video to help explain this.
Addy, you lovely lot. I just had a thought, right? Is it actually wrong of me at now, this day and age, where the cost of living has actually gone up, and obviously the cost of energy, gas, electric, and that I'm sitting in my flat cold, that I actually would love to sit on a bus all day just to actually be warm? And that's how I'm literally thinking now, in 2022, in this fucking country.
So are you effectively saying then that an inflation...
So what we're seeing is that a sense of unfairness permeates with the crisis class conflict online. So people's day-to-day financial struggles are understood by many as a symptom of a much deeper disease, and that's a crisis of inequality. A language of greed is prescribed to perceived elites and their supposed system. Many take to avert political protest. Some petition to incite change, with many posts featuring links to petitions that private individuals have started. Most are centred around rising energy bills and schemes to help combat this for winter. Others use their posts to discuss the policy decisions of the government, including geopolitical policy decisions. TikTok activists are most inclined to blame others for their personal financial struggles. These angry older users tend to pin the crisis squarely and directly on politicians and foreigners, whether that's foreigners in the UK, refugees trying to enter the country, or Ukrainians receiving foreign aid. And I'll just play you this clip as an example, just to let you know it's quite raw, angry language and does contain some controversial views.
This is how they've decided to spend it, and I'm pretty sure that if it were not put to a vote, we wouldn't be given all these extra millions to France. We wouldn't be given all these extra millions here, there and everywhere before our own people were sorted. You look after your own first, and your own then looks after itself. That's how life works. What you can't do is blatantly tell people, we ain't going to help you. But hang on, we're going to help these buggers over here. You know, we're more than happy to pay for these guys as they spread diseases around the place.
A smaller minority of TikTok activists even blame other TikTok users for the cost of living crisis. These people are angry that others deploy the platform as a means of learning budget-saving hacks rather than demanding change. By trying to make the best out of their situation, they are perceived as complicit in maintaining the rotten status quo. So in the next video that I'm going to play you, a TikToker vents her frustration over seeing users uncritically accept their financial struggle. So finally, what are the opportunities for brands? So how should businesses respond to consumer problems and strategies to help overcome them? So the first opportunity is showing empathy for customers. This is more important than ever during a deepening financial and emotional crisis. So put audience insights at the forefront of your corporate strategy for the immediate future so you can keep up with how your people are feeling. 2. Adapt your messaging to specific TikTok cohorts and user strategies. So a one-size-fits-all won't do. You won't reach TikTok activists through a 2-minute explainer video on how your product pushes down prices. Nor will a Gen Zer listen to a rallying cry for public policy reform. Adapt your messaging to echo the strategies of each age cohort in order to better reach and engage with them. 3. Take entertainment seriously. So the results are in. Entertaining is a really valid strategy. Our analysis shows that brands can reach the increasingly important consumer group Gen Z by delivering content in the same easygoing, humorous and accessible manner that they communicate in. 4. Don't underestimate Gen Z pessimism. When talking to Gen Z about the cost of living crisis, remember that they may well be feeling anxious, cynical, disillusioned, pessimistic about the future. These are powerful emotions that aren't always obvious, making them great to centre a campaign around. Gen Zs are also used to a lower quality of life than their elders and aren't expecting that to change anytime soon. By appreciating that, brands can understand how Gen Z's attitude can be both freeing and depressing. 5. Emphasising the struggles of the cost of living crisis risks exacerbating high levels of anxiety among consumers. So brands walk a tightrope. We see all user categories on TikTok suffer as financial stress snowballs into high levels of emotional stress, physical ailments, and doomsday thoughts. While brands do need to acknowledge that these are tough times, they can potentially come across as hypocritical or cynical if they're going after already money-strapped customers. So instead of focusing on the cost of living and increasing anxiety among target consumers, It may be a better moment to be talking about your brand's quality and reliability. 6. Remember that actions speak louder than words. So empathy shouldn't be used as a comms tool. Instead, brands should approach consumers as people first and find ways to meet their needs. Businesses that can point to concrete measures that they are taking to improve people's lives will fare better. Seven, take this as a cue to become credible agents of social change. Brands aren't widely perceived to be working in the interests of the greater good. With plenty of greenwashing, whitewashing and pinkwashing around, few trust brands to act in a socially responsible way. Audiences are highly sensitive to companies' big talk and limited action, and statistics bear this out. Very few companies are committed to driving social change themselves, for example by becoming B Corp certified. Those who are, however, stand to gain. Our TikTok analysis shows how brands that have built a reputation as an agent of change can lock hands with TikTok activists lobbying for social change, reaching a vocal and highly influential customer segment in the process. And finally, 8, invest in the long term despite the short-term crisis. Communicating should be seen as an investment, not an expense. Brands which invest in recessions come out stronger and ready for the upturn. If you continue to do quality communications, you're building your brand, even when the opportunity for the immediate sale may not be as obvious. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that was useful, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Please do look out for our next webinar from Listen and Learn Research, which is part of our DIY Social Insights series. Thanks for joining and have a good day.